What's up, everybody? Episode 5 of the 1982 PMD seat project for my 97 Firebird. Last time you saw, we were spray painting the interior plastic trim panels on the seats. Today's episode, I'm going to try to tackle actually spray painting the fabric of the PMD seat. I've been thinking about this project for a while on what I wanted to do, and I've decided to mount the upper half of the seat to the lower half of my seat, and you see that in a previous episode where I got that to work. Now that I know that works, I've got to take the tan seat and make it charcoal gray to match the interior of my car. I'm going to test this first on the lower seat that I know I'm not going to be using, so I don't care if I mess this up. So I'm going to take the lower seat, I'm going to spray it with this fabric paint, see how well it goes, and if it goes well, then I'll attack the upper seats. So without further ado, let's get started. One thing that I noticed about this particular material is that this, I don't know what it is, like velour or something, I don't know what the technical term for this type of material is. It definitely has a grain to it. So if you go this way with it, you can definitely see that there's a grain as opposed to going this way with it. I watched some videos on YouTube about spray painting fabric, and after you vacuum it, it's best to try to get all the grain going in one direction, because if you don't, then you're gonna basically lock in that misdirection of the grain with the paint and it won't be able to smooth out. So I'm testing this on the seat bottom first because I want to make sure that I can test this theory of getting all the grain in one direction and then spray painting it and seeing how that actually works. Also, you know, I've got these deep crevices on the seat, but I also have it on the seat back as well. So I need to figure out how I'm going to get paint in there without really messing up the direction of the grain and everything. So I may shoot the creases first and then make sure that that's all going the right way, and then getting the rest of it. They say for this thicker material is to spray it and then take a brush and kind of get it going in one direction and then spray it again. So get a brush, go in one direction, spray it while it's still wet, take a brush and go the opposite direction and spray it. That way you're getting all the sides of the fibers. On the seat backs of my PMD seats, they don't have that. So I'm glad I'm not gonna really have to worry about that. So my concern really is this piping, plastic piping, going to be covered by this paint very well? How durable is that going to be? And mostly, I just want to make sure that the grain is going the right way to see if this paint will actually stick to this. Let's get this shook up. I'm going to turn on my shop fan, get some ventilation in here so I don't pass out, and then we'll get going. So that's coating pretty decently. Obviously you can see where it's still a little bit tan in the crevices here. Still have some striping. I think when I go to actually spray the backs, instead of going across it like this, I'm actually going to go with the grain. And it probably would help if I had this kind of propped up a little bit more vertical than laying down flat. It's making it a little bit hard to get to some of the things. Again, this is the bottom. I'm not really worried too much about it. But that's pretty cool. It's changed all my piping to that charcoal gray. I just wish I could get a little bit more uniform there in the center, kind of get rid of that striping effect. But I think this is going to work. So, all right, so I'm ready to spray this seat back with my Duplicolor fabric paint. I got a stiff brush and just kind of went through and basically combed all the fibers in the right direction, and I went around the whole seat and did that. So make sure you keep that in mind. I want to make sure the grain is all going in the right spot, place. I've got it hung up from my ceiling here with some chain. and I'm just going to kind of go around and spray it. On my test piece, I think I had my spray pattern too far apart and was kind of causing some striping. So I'm going to try to keep the spray pattern a little tighter, let that overlap. Kind of left some gaps in it, which if I put subsequent coats on, I could probably get rid of it. But so got this shook up. I'm going to give this a shot. So it's laying down pretty decently. Don't really want to put on too thick of the first time around, but this fabric is really absorbing it pretty quickly. So I guess I'll just let this sit for just a few more seconds, minutes, and then kind of go after it again. So that's definitely looking more even now that I've got a second coat on it. I got to remember to keep hitting the top, the bottom or the top of the seat here. I was able to overlap the spray lines, so that's gotten rid of the striping I was getting on the test spray I did on the bottom. Well, I think that's going to do it for the many coats as I can get. I don't want to go too dark on it. Don't want it to look black. I may open my garage door up a little bit more and get some better light in here to see if I've missed any spots. I think for the most part that's good to go. Okay, got the next one hanging up. I'm going to take my brush and go over the grain, make sure everything's going the right direction, and then we'll get it sprayed. Well, there you have it. Sprayed the tops of the seats. Had to apply a couple coats to make sure that the tan was sufficiently covered, and in doing so it made the gray a touch too dark in my opinion, but there's really no other way around it. If I wanted a good coverage over the tan, I needed to make sure I put enough of that fabric paint down. I'm really thrilled with how they came out. You can see the before and after pictures of the tan versus the charcoal gray. These are a little bit more blackish gray than my seat, so you're going to see a difference, but I think if you're just looking at the car and the T-tops are off, windows down, looking through, it's going to look fantastic. So that'll conclude this episode. The next episode will be reassembly of the seats and installing them back into the Firebird. So stay tuned for that. Hit that like switch on the way out. Be sure to subscribe, see more content. God bless.